Hey everyone! So Teppen is the game of the week for me. It's a new game that just came out in July of this year, and I find it to be a lot of fun. So it's a combat card playing game that involves a lot of strategy. And personally, I really like strategy. I like figuring things out, and I love to outthink my opponent. I love developing different strategies that can be applied in different circumstances and thinking on my feet. This game is honestly a lot of fun. So if you like to play different card games, and if you like a game with good graphics, and if you're a fan of other Capcom games, then this is the game for you. The nostalgia of this game is incredible to me. It just invokes this feeling because you see all these characters that you know from their other games, from the Capcom universe. It's truly unique. And it reminds me of when I was growing up, actually, and playing different games that have these characters in it. Like Megaman is a big fan favorite of mine. I know a lot of people like Resident Evil and Street Fighters, of course. It almost feels like Capcom's version of Nintendo's Super Smash Bros. Brawl, where they bring some of their most popular heroes and villains back to your gaming screen. It really is a blast from the past, and I think a lot of new players will enjoy this type of gameplay style because it's very forward thinking and isn't your typical card game where you lay a card, you wait for something to happen. Everything's happening in real time, so you can predict when an attack is going to hit the opponent or when it'll hit you. And with it happening in real time, it really means you have to make split-second decisions. Are you able to absorb this attack? Can you not? Do you have to block it in some way, shape, or form? And really, if you're not thinking, if you're not completely engaged, you're probably going to lose. I think this game is also great for people who grew up on these characters. It'll probably bring back a lot of memories when growing up, and it might even encourage you to grab those old Capcom games that you have hidden away in your storage and pick them up and play them. Check out these characters again, and you just feel like you're a kid again. It's always nice to feel young. So, when playing this game, it's all done in real time, so there's a 5-minute timer on each match, but I haven't had a match so far that has gone the full 5 minutes. So, you can begin by placing a unit on your side of the field, so you usually have 3 spots open, and you can summon different cards onto the field based on your mana bar that is found just below your cards. Each of your cards that have a triangle and a shield are your player cards. So these are your units that kind of attack each other. So the red triangle represents their attack points, and the shield is their, HP, basically. There are also cards that do not have HP or attack, and these are called action cards. So you can summon different cards into different areas, and the amount of mana that it takes is shown in the top left corner of each card, regardless of if they're a unit or if they're an action card. By summoning action cards and units, you also charge your hero's AP. When your hero's AP is full, you're able to use a special ability. Now, these abilities vary based on what hero you have. So Ryu has his own special ability, for instance, but if you were to play as, say, Megaman, he would have a different special ability. So by using different heroes, you're able to have a different type of advantage over the opponent, and it's all kind of based on your style of play. So far, it seems like by using different heroes, you can create different strategies when attacking the opponent. Right now, I'm just playing through the story mode of Ryu. By playing through a story mode, I'm able to unlock him and his deck. By unlocking him and his deck, I will be able to use him and his deck either in parts or in combination with other decks in order to create an ideal team. This will allow me to mix and match characters to create a different strategy for different opponents that I will face. An active response phase occurs when either player plays an action card. At this time, the opponent is able to play an action card in response to either mitigate the effect, block the effect, or use its own effect. This allows the opponent to then respond again, or resolve the play. It seems that cards that have more HP and attack end up costing more mana to play. This makes sense because stronger cards need more energy. Whenever a card dies, it ends up going to your graveyard, and I'm unsure if there are any action cards or character unit cards that are able to revive them. Those are probably more complex cards that you can get later on in the game, if it's possible at all. This game also has some really unique features, like being able to play against opponents all around the world. You can either play with your friends by creating a room and having them join it with a special account code, as well as battle against random opponents across the globe in order to learn new strategies and develop new methods of defeating the enemy. Play in match play in order to battle random opponents and climb the ranks on a global scale. So I personally find the best way to learn is by doing, and by experimenting either in the free match, in practice matches, in matches against people across the world, playing against your friends in a room, or creating a competitive room is the best way to learn both what action cards do and your unit cards. In most games, I try for a survival approach, where I try to outlast my opponent. And in this game, I find you actually have to go a bit quicker than that, so it's caused me to change my strategy a bit. So I usually wait at the beginning of a match for the opponent to play a card, because then I can make sure that my counter card lines up perfectly with theirs and has the chance of beating their card. I also do last minute card plays sometimes. So if I see that their attack is almost at my side, I will lay a card last second in order to counter that card, possibly defeat them, and swing the tide of the battle. So I try to counter my opponent as much as I can. So if they play a card in one row, then I'll play a card in the same row. But I will try to have a card with either more defense or more attack so that I can counter them and possibly inflict direct damage. So the opponent gave herself a card that gives a friendly unit +2 attack. And I have this card, which can deal 3 damage to an opponent's unit. So to actually see what your action cards do before using them, you can tap on them and the information will come up in the left-hand side of a screen. I should have done that first, but I won't lie, I kind of forgot to do that, and it didn't really tell you in the game to, so you kind of have to figure that out yourself. So I was late there on trying to block that character's attack, and he does 4 damage, so that's quite a bit. But Ryu's AP is completely charged, so I use his special art ability and I destroy that enemy unit, because with his, kind of like his rush, kind of like his special ability, he can deal 7 damage to 1 unit on the other team. So he's a very offensive hero to use. In the story mode of this game, you can unlock different Capcom characters from the Capcom universe, and as you unlock them and play through with them, you unlock both their character and their deck. You can build different decks with the different cards that you acquire, and you can choose a different hero for that deck that has a different special ability when their AP is charged. This will help you create a variety of different decks that utilize different strategies against different opponents. So right now in the game, I'm giving myself a name, and of course, I'm going with Link. And for those of you who don't know, I'm actually from Canada, so I'm going to pick a Canadian flag. And I have to say that warning is nice, letting you know that if you want to change your flag later on, it will cost a lot of zenny, which is the in-game currency that they have here. They also have gems, which is a currency that you have to pay for, so it's a premium currency. They have a lot of daily missions where you can get this zenny, and there's different achievements, and the season pass, that is something you have to pay for, and I'm still trying to figure out what Soul does. Thanks everyone for watching my channel. Teppen is the new game of the week.